My child, now you must rise and fight. Not to prove anything, not to resist anyone, but to reclaim the life that is slowly being stolen from within you. I am not speaking of breath, heartbeat, or the existence of your body. I am speaking of the fire within the flame that once made you wake each morning, with hope that once made your eyes shine when you spoke of your calling. Now that flame has dimmed into ashes, for you have allowed fear, disappointment, and exhaustion to blanket it. You still smile, still work, still walk among people, but within you the most alive, radiant part has begun to fall asleep. My child, you cannot keep drifting through your days like a shadow. Prolonged silence is not peace. It is the slow fading of the soul. There is a battle being fought, not outside but deep within you. And if you do not fight, darkness will win, not with a roar, but with indifference. It convinces you that nothing is worth striving for, that what you once believed was only an illusion. It makes you stop hoping, stop praying, stop loving, stop believing. That is how death seeps into life, by making you stop truly living. Remember this: the greatest enemy of the soul is not the evil around you, but the surrender within you. The enemy does not need violence to destroy you. It only needs to persuade you that there is nothing left worth fighting for. It whispers that the dreams you once carried have died, that the promises I once spoke no longer hold value, that faith is merely the naivety of youth. And little by little you start believing. You stop resisting. You call compromise maturity, numbness, peace, and despair acceptance. But I tell you, that is not peace, that is the surrender of spiritual life. My child, the true life I placed within you cannot be stolen, but it can be buried. And now you must dig it up again. You must turn over every layer of ash, the fears, the lies you believed that did not come from me. Look into my eyes, not at your wounds. For in me there is life, a life that cannot be extinguished. I am not calling you to be strong in the way the world defines strength. I am calling you to awaken. Rise not by might, but by faith. Fight to reclaim the life of your soul, the freedom to love, to believe, to hope, to keep walking, even when you cannot yet see the way. You once thought fighting meant taking up a sword, but that was only a symbol. The true battle lies in your daily choices. Will you believe in darkness or in light? Will you let the past dictate your future, or will you allow me to rewrite it? Every time you say, I can't, you retreat from life itself. But every time you say, though I don't understand, I still believe, you are raising my banner again on the ground the darkness thought it had claimed. I know there are days when everything feels like it's falling apart. Like the wind sweeping through winter branches, you feel stripped bare, cold, without strength to believe spring will return. But remember, it is in winter that roots grow deepest into the soil. So it is in this darkness that your soul is being shaped deeper, steadier, more real. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against the powers of darkness, and that battlefield is not far away, it is within you. Do not fear the cracks, for through them the light will enter. Do not be ashamed of your weakness, for weakness makes you dependent on me. And in that dependence you rediscover true life. When you bow your head and admit you are weary, that you need me, it is not defeat. It is the beginning of resurrection. I do not need you to win by human strength. I need you to keep holding on in the midst of the fight. My child, I am breathing new life into the deepest part of you. Open your heart and let the wind of my spirit touch the places that have gone dry. Let me awaken in you the passions that once burned brightly, the dreams buried beneath the ashes of disappointment. I know you have taken many blows, and each one has made you close your heart a little more, but today I say to you, live again, not with a shout, but with the quiet breath of life being restored. True life is not loud or ostentatious. It begins with a quiet decision to believe, to rise, to love, even while still in pain. You cannot wait until you feel ready, for there will never be a perfect moment. You must begin in the night, when your heart still trembles, when your tears have not yet dried, It is in that very moment that life begins to sprout. Therefore, my child, do not let the darkness steal what I have placed within you. Rise up, say, I am still here. Fight not with sword or weapon, but with faith. Hold tightly to the promise I have spoken, even when the world says its time has expired. For I am the keeper of my word, and what I have sown in you will not die. The tree may be cut down, but its roots still live. And from those roots I will cause new shoots to spring forth stronger, deeper, and more radiant than ever before. This is not the end, my child. This is the moment when you learn how to breathe again, how to live again, how to love again. This battle was never meant to destroy you, but to resurrect you. Let me fight with you for your life, for your soul, for the future I am weaving with the very threads of faith you now hold in your hands. My child, you were never made to live under the shadow of smallness, nor to bow beneath the weight of fear, despair, or chaos. From the beginning I breathed into you the breath of life, and within that breath resides strength, light, and everlasting hope. You were created in the image of the Eternal One, not to crawl in doubt, but to stand tall in glory, not to be defined by pain, but to shine through the night. You are not a victim of circumstance, you are the evidence of grace. Within you lies a divine seed, and that seed needs only a single drop of faith to rise through the heavy soil of fear, reaching upward like a tender shoot in the storm. My beloved, I see how you have grown accustomed to living within limits, the limits of what is called reality, the boundaries of what people say is impossible. The same worries repeated so often that you have mistaken them for your nature. But I tell you this, the only thing truly natural within you is the light I have placed there. Everything else, fear, insecurity, doubt, is but dust on the mirror of your soul. Do not let them make you forget the face I have formed. You were born not to avoid the darkness, but to bring light into it, not to hide in silence, but to speak words of faith, not to bow your head, but to lift it and see yourself through my eyes. I know you have often thought yourself too weak, that the world is too vast, that your wounds are too deep. Yet it is in weakness that my strength is revealed. You do not need to be extraordinary to be loved by me. You need only remember that you were created from extraordinary love. Look back at the moments when you thought you could not go on yet here. You stand, do you not? That alone is proof that my life in you has never been extinguished. Every time you rise, heaven trembles, for you are living out the very purpose I have given you, not to be perfect, but to keep rising again and again. Understand this, my child. Your soul was never meant to be tamed by the temporary. I have placed within you a longing to go beyond boundaries, not ambition, but the call of divine nature. When you long to live for something greater, to love beyond fear, to believe amid despair, that is when you return to my likeness. I did not create you to hide behind safe walls, but to step into deep waters where you have no choice but to lean on me. For only there will you discover what true freedom means. Do not let anyone tell you that you must shrink yourself to be accepted. I never called you to hide. Light was never meant to be placed under a basket, but on a stand. In the same way you were created to shine, to radiate, to reveal me through your life. You are not a dim reflection of what others think. You are the mirror reflecting my glory. Do not live as though you were just a grain of sand. You are a star in my sky, perfectly placed to shine in your appointed time. But I know that your light has been dimmed before by pain, by the words you've heard too many times. You're not enough. You're unworthy. You can't. Those words planted in you a false faith in limitation. Yet today I desire to break that lie. Nothing in your past can change the truth that you are my beloved creation. No wound can erase the imprint I have carved upon your soul. You may be broken, but you cannot be destroyed. You may lose your way, but you are never abandoned. Remember this, you are called to live powerfully, not because you always have control, but because you dare to believe even when you don't understand. Strength is not the absence of fear. It is the courage to keep walking despite it. The light within you does not come from self-confidence, but from knowing that I am with you. You do not have to create that light. You only need to let it shine. When you release the pressure to be good enough or perfect, the true light finally shines freely. My child, I have placed within you a piece of myself, the strength to rise, the mercy to forgive, the courage to love, and the fire to lead others out of darkness. Do not waste your life trying to become someone else. Be who you are, for only when you fully live out what I placed in you will the world see me more clearly. When you love someone with genuine love, you are spreading my kingdom. When you choose forgiveness, you are releasing the power of heaven. When you keep believing, though everything seems to fall apart, you make hell tremble. Do not fear failure. Failure does not make you smaller, it makes you deeper. Every time you fall, I use it to expand your heart so it can hold more of my light. When you lose something, I do not take it to punish you, but to make room for something greater. Every loss is only the prelude to restoration. Just as a grain of wheat must fall to the ground to bear much fruit, so must your soul go through dark seasons to bloom in glory. My child, it is time to stop living as the wounded and start living as the one who is sent. Do not look at what you have lost. Look at what I am forming. Do not fear that your light is too bright, the world needs it. Do not doubt my voice within you, the world is waiting for your words. When you live true to the nature I placed in you, the darkness around you will fade, not because you fight it, but because you simply shine. And hear me, in this you do not live to become worthy of my love. You are loved so that you may learn how to live worthily. Rise not with pride, but with gratitude. Lift your head not to show off, but to reflect the light of the one who made you. Let the whole universe see that light is never defeated by darkness. My beloved child, I did not call you to wander as a lost shadow among men. I called you to rule, to reign, to live. As an heir of the divine kingdom I placed within you from the beginning. You were not created merely to endure this life, but to walk in authority with the spirit of one who knows they belong to the Almighty. Therefore I say once more, fight not with fists, but with your spirit. Not to conquer others, but to reclaim the sacred part of yourself that was stolen by fear, doubt, and the habit of hiding. Do not mistake my teaching of meekness as a call to weakness. Meekness is not passivity, it is strength that has been tamed by love and guided by wisdom. Remember this, the Lamb was slain, yet the Lion of the tribe of Judah still roars. In the silence of the cross, the sound of royal victory still resounds. That same Lion lives within you. My spirit is not a dormant memory resting quietly in your chest. He is burning, surging, waiting for your yes to burst forth as a flood of life. Can you feel it? Every heartbeat, every breath you take it, is heaven's call to battle. Fight, my child, for the parts of you you have surrendered too easily. Take back the voice you silenced out of fear of judgment. Take back the mind you allowed the world to shape with its noise and deception. Take back the purity you once dismissed, for it is the crown of your soul. Take back your destiny, not to prove your worth to the world, but to fulfill the promise between you and me. You may think it's too late, that opportunities have passed, that your mistakes have locked every door. But I tell you this is the moment. For I am the one not bound by time, the one who redeems the days, who turns wastelands into gardens, who brings dry bones back to life. No detour in your life confuses me. No failure changes my intention. You may wander, but I remain at the center, patiently waiting for your return. What I have spoken over you remains intact as on the first day. It only awaits your rising to come alive again. Look deep into your heart, my child. There lies a calling long suppressed, the call of a warrior of light. I did not create you to avoid darkness, but to make darkness tremble when you arrive. I did not give you wings to hide, but to soar through the storm. When you tremble, I do not despise you, for I know that in your trembling your soul is being forged into a weapon. Let your tears wash away fear. Let your faith sharpen like a sword. Do not flee from your battlefield, for the place you fear most is the very ground where I await your arrival. Do not think this battle is merely for your victory. It is for your transformation. For as you fight, I am teaching you to see as I see, to love as I love, to live as I live. The deeper you go, the more you'll understand that victory does not come from strength, but from surrender. When you say, "Lord, I cannot, but you can," that is the moment heaven touches earth and the spirit within you awakens. Remember this, my beloved, there is a part of you that hell fears the most, the part that knows you are chosen. Because when you believe that I live in you, no power can control you. Fear loses its grip, sin loses its chains, the past loses its hold. You begin to walk with the steps of the redeemed, with eyes that shine with hope, with a heart burning like a coal that will not die out. And in that moment, the world will know that you are not merely a believer. You are one who has been sent. Do not wait until you feel strong to fight. True strength comes from the decision to rise in weakness. Fight while your hands still tremble, for I will make them firm. Fight though tears still fall, for I will turn them into oil for your victory. Fight even when you cannot see the path, for I am the light guiding your steps. Do not wait for perfection, for it is in chaos that miracles are born. And when you grow weary, remember I never asked you to fight alone. I am the one who goes before you into battle, and I am also the one who stands behind you as your shield. I am both the sword and the defense. You need only to move in rhythm with my breath, with the heartbeat of my spirit within you. Every prayer you utter is an arrow. Every act of love is a sword strike against the darkness. Never underestimate the power of small faithfulness, for it is the flame that sets heaven in motion. You ask, but what if I lose my child? In me there is no such thing as loss. There are moments when you fall, yet I use the very place of your fall to build an altar of restoration. There are moments when you are wounded, yet I use those wounds to shine light for others. No loss in me is ever wasted. Every failure you hand over to me becomes the raw material for victory. Now, my child, listen to the roar that rises within you. That sound is not meant to frighten you, but to remind you of whom you belong to. The Lion of Judah lives within you, the one who conquered death, broke open the tomb, and triumphed over every power. He is not in you to remain silent, he is in you to move, and when you say yes, he will stir. The flame within you will blaze again, your soul will be restored, and you will know that you are not merely alive, you are living for an eternal purpose. So rise up, my warrior. Take faith as your sword, wear hope as your armor, and step into battle not with fear but with the assurance that I have already overcome. You only need to keep walking. I will do the rest. Fight not to earn approval, but to find yourself again, the one I called by name, the one I chose among multitudes, the one I have never stopped believing in. Remember, my child, the calling upon your life still stands. Even when you feel burnt out, I still see you burning bright. Even when you believe you're lost, I am leading you home. Even when you think you have nothing left, I see within you a treasure yet to be unveiled. For I am the restorer of paths, the redeemer of time, and the one who turns fallen souls into bearers of victory. My child, you now stand on the edge, the thin line between light and darkness, between awakening and wandering, between true life and hollow existence. And I tell you this truth, the enemy has never underestimated this battle. He does not act in blind rage. He is cunning, patient, and calculated. He has watched every breath you take, memorized how you react when hurt, and noted the places in you that tremble most easily. He does not strike when you are strong. He waits until you are weary, when your faith hangs by a thread, when you begin to doubt the voice of mine within your heart. He doesn't need to break you all at once. He only needs to make you slowly forget who you are. My child, this is no game. This is war, a quiet, brutal war with no bullets fought through thoughts, words, and daily choices. The enemy does not merely seek to waste your time, he wants to steal your essence, the very thing I placed within you before you were formed. He wants to drain your joy so you'll believe life is only endurance. He wants to blur your identity so you forget you are the child of a king. He wants to cloud your clarity so that chaos drowns my whisper. He wants to weaken your spirit until you believe you have nothing left to fight for. He wants to rob your divine calling so you forget you were once sent with an eternal purpose. My child, the pain you feel is not an illusion. The heaviness pressing on your soul is no accident. The confusion in your mind is not just mood swings. These are signs of a spiritual battle. Invisible forces are working to drain your soul, to siphon your strength, little by little, to whisper lies that make you believe you've been abandoned. You think you're simply exhausted, but in truth you are under attack. The enemy does not fear the talented or the strong. He trembles before a soul that knows how to bow before God. He does not fear the wise, but he fears the one who prays persistently. He does not flinch at your cries, but he panics when you kneel in silence and whisper, "Lord, I still believe." In that very moment, he knows he has lost, for he understands that one who fights through faith never truly falls. Do you see, my child? Everything happening around you is meant to silence the inner voice, the spiritual call I placed within you. The enemy seeks to distract you with trivial matters so that you forget what is great. He burdens you with worries about bread work and reputation so that you no longer have time to lift your eyes to heaven. He fills you with self-blame until you stop praying, thinking, "I am weary of hearing you." But hear me now, no prayer is ever wasted. Every sigh, every tear, every breath that still believes, I hear them all and record them. You may be silent, but I still hear the cry of your heart. My child, you are standing on a battlefield, whether you are ready or not. But do not fear, for you are not fighting alone. All my angels surround you, even if your eyes cannot yet see them. My light still burns within you, even if you believe only ashes remain. I have placed upon your shoulders the armor of faith, in your hand the sword of my word, and before your chest the shield of righteousness. You think you are naked, but you are clothed in me. The enemy wants you to believe this is the end. But my child, this is only the beginning of awakening. For only when you stand on the edge do you discover who your true foundation is. Only when every support collapses do you realize that I am the rock that cannot be moved. It is in this moment, amid chaos and fear, that your soul is being called to mature. Do not flee from the battlefield, for there I wait to train you as a warrior of light. I know you are weary. I know everything seems out of control. But remember, the night is always darkest before dawn. Look deep into the storm and you will see me there. When you feel yourself being pulled down, it is because I am drawing you out of the old. When you feel alone, it is because I want you to hear my voice more clearly. When you find nothing left to cling to, it is because you are learning to cling to faith. My child, do not let fear rule your mind. Do not let the enemy steal your voice by silencing you. Open your mouth and declare what I have promised. Speak to your fear and tell it that it has no power over you. Speak to the darkness and tell it that the light within you still lives. Speak to your own soul and proclaim, I belong to the Lord and He is fighting for me. For every time you say these words, hell trembles, knowing the fire within you has not gone out. Rise up even with trembling hands and tear-stained eyes. Remember, true strength is not in never falling, but in rising again after the fall. Use this pain as oil to feed your faith. Let every wound become a doorway for light to enter. For when you endure, you do not overcome merely for yourself. You carve a path for others to find their way out too. This is war, my child, but I am the one who has already won. The enemy may plot, but he cannot outwit my plan. He may weaken you, but he cannot weaken me. And because I live within you, he cannot destroy you. Everything he meant for harm I will use to forge you stronger. Every tear you shed I will turn into a stream that cleanses the dust from your soul. Every time you think you've lost it all, I will show you that you lack nothing because you have me. My child, listen deeply within your soul, for this is the truth I long to carve upon your heart. You are not too broken. There is no crack too deep that my grace cannot reach. There is no night so dark that my light cannot pierce through. You are not too far gone. No matter how far you have wandered from my path, no matter how lost you've become in alleys that seem to have no exit, I still see you, still wait for you, still call your name in the wind. You are not disqualified. I have never turned, my back never withdrawn. My love never stopped believing that the beauty within you still waits to be awakened. What you thought was the end to me is only a comma, a pause, before the beginning of a new chapter of restoration. The lies you have believed, my child, did not arrive by chance. They were sown with precision like weeds, scattered across the garden of your soul. The enemy knows he cannot destroy what I have created, so he chose instead to make you doubt it. He whispered that you are not enough, that you've gone too far, that you have lost your worth, and slowly you began to believe him. He did not need iron chains to bind you, only thoughts. But today I come to expose every one of those lies, not to shame you, but to set you free. You must see the chains in order to break them. I am shining light into the corners you fear to face, not to condemn, but to heal. My light never comes to wound. It comes to reveal, to cleanse, to give life. You think I am exposing your wounds, but I am actually opening the windows for air and sunlight to enter, so that what once festered in darkness may now breathe and heal. My child, this is the hour of awakening. The bell tolls not from the outside, but from deep within your soul, where my spirit is calling you home. Do not slumber in indifference any longer. Do not drift lazily within the comfort of false stability. Apathy is the warm blanket wrapped around a dying soul. It makes you believe that silence is peace, when in truth, it is only the stillness of spiritual sleep inside a prison. Wake up, for my call is echoing through the stillness you once thought meaningless. Lift your head, for dawn is coming and it waits for no one. Do not seek comfort in what poisons your spirit. Some things appear as painkillers, but are truly venom. They numb your soul until you can no longer hear my voice. Do not let fleeting pleasures, hollow relationships, or empty achievements rob you of the true peace that only I can give. You were born to drink from the fountain of life, not from the stagnant puddles of this world. You were made to be nourished by light, not to survive on the crumbs of illusion. My child, look around you. The world has never been louder, yet the human soul has never been emptier. And it is into this emptiness that I am calling you back, not only back to me, but back to yourself, to the real you into whom I breathed life, the you I saw before the world defined you by titles, status, or scars, the you I crafted in love and entrusted with a purpose that is uniquely yours among billions of souls. You have forgotten that calling buried under pain, disappointment, and the false belief that compromise would keep you safe. But my child, compromise is never safety, it is a gentle death. It cools the fire of your spirit and dims your light until you no longer recognize who you are. I do not condemn you for losing your way. Who among travelers has never fallen? But the greatest danger is not in falling, it is in refusing to rise. That is why I am extending my hand, not to punish, but to lift you up. Do not fear to look within. Do not shrink from the shadows in your heart. For when you dare to face them, you will discover that I have been there all along, waiting for you to let my light flood in. Not to erase your past, but to redefine it. My child, do you remember the time when you shone like the dawn, when you still believed that you were born for something greater, when your heart was still pure and unburdened by fear? I want you to remember, not with regret, but with a longing for restoration, For I do not merely wish to take you back to where you once were. I long to bring you to a place you have never dared to dream of. Yet to reach that place you must dare to release what weighs you down, the compromises, the fears, the lies you have mistaken for truth. This is an urgent hour, my child. The battle is real not only in the world around you, but within your very soul. Darkness no longer hides behind the door. It is knocking at the gate of your mind, seeking to wear you down, to make you give up, to make you stop believing. But I too am there, knocking at the same door with a whisper that is gentle yet fierce. Do you want to live again? That is not merely an invitation, it is the call of life itself. My child, I know you are weary, but it is precisely there in your exhaustion that the miracle begins. For when you have no strength left to rise, you will finally let me lift you. When you no longer have words to pray, I will hear the cry of your heart. When you can no longer find a reason to hope, I will become that reason. You do not have to be perfect to return. You only have to be honest. All I need is a small response, Lord, I still want to. And like a tiny seed, buried in dry soil, with just a drop of grace, it will sprout again. You are not too broken to be redeemed. You are not too lost to be found. You are not defined by your failures, but by love itself. For I, the one who saw you when no one else did, who chose you when no one else would, who called your name amid the noise of the world, I am still standing here, arms open, waiting for you to return. My child, awaken. Rise from the ashes of surrender. Hear the voice within you, not the voice of fear, but the voice of life. I am calling you back to yourself, to the person I created you, to be the one the world cannot touch, the one that pain cannot destroy. Come back, my child, for the dawn is rising, and the world needs the light that only you can shine. My beloved, the journey ahead will stretch you. It will pull your soul to its limits beyond what you once thought you could endure. But in that stretching, I will enlarge you to carry more light, more faith, more strength. Do not fear the tightness nor the moments when you feel like breaking, for these hardships do not come to crush you, but to shape you. Like clay in the hands of the potter, you will be pressed, turned, and refined, yet every spin is guided by my steady hand. I am forming you into something new, steadier, deeper, and more radiant with my glory. And know this, my child, I will be with you. Not from afar, not as a distant observer, but within every heartbeat, every breath, every tear that falls unseen. I never send you where I will not go with you. Every land you step into, whether a plain of stillness or a valley of shadow, I have already walked there before you. Not a single moment will you be alone. I am the one who goes before you to prepare the way, who follows behind to guard you, and who walks beside you, holding your hand through every storm. When I say go, remember, it is not a cold command, but a tender invitation from a father who longs to walk with his child through the path of transformation. I never give a calling without the power to fulfill it. Everything I ask of you, I have already placed the ability within you to do. The seed of strength is already there. It only needs the soil of trial to germinate. I do not ask for perfection. I ask for faithfulness. Faithfulness in your steps, in your trust, and in your waiting. When you fall, I will not leave you. I will lift you with the same hands that once carried the cross. When you weep, I will not turn away. I will catch your tears one by one, for none of them fall in vain. Each drop bears witness to your faith. Each becomes a raindrop, watering your future harvest. No moment of your life is wasted, no pain forgotten, no prayer lost in the void. My child, you have cried out for freedom, for breakthrough, for peace, and I have heard you. But you must understand, these sacred gifts do not fall into your hands by accident. They do not appear in the comfort of slumber. They are reclaimed through effort, through faith, through resistance against the darkness. Freedom is not a cheap gift. It is the trophy of a soul that has shed its old skin. Breakthrough does not come from avoidance, but from the courage to step into the storm. peace is not the absence of the storm, but the strength to stand firm within it, knowing that I am right there in the midst of it all. My child, do not misunderstand trials. They do not come to punish, but to train. They are not meant to take away what is precious, but to remove what is no longer needed. I do not want you merely to survive. I want you to live powerfully, for every warrior of light must be forged in fire. If gold does not pass through fire, it remains crude metal. If the soul does not endure hardship, it stays fragile. Therefore, do not fear trials. Let me teach your hands to war and awaken within you the spirit of the warrior I planted from the very beginning. Let me teach you the art of discernment, so you may know which voice is mine and which belongs to the enemy. What is truth and what is illusion dressed in splendor? In this age, the noise will try to devour you, and only the soul that listens deeply will survive. I will open your eyes to see what cannot be seen and your ears to hear what the world cannot hear. Allow me to reshape your heart. The heart that was once frail will now beat to the rhythm of courage, faith, and unwearied love. My child, do not let fear speak louder than my promises. Fear is the most eloquent liar. It makes you forget that I have always been faithful. It magnifies failure, minimizes grace, and convinces you that the worst is final. But let my promises drown out every echo of deceit. For my word is truth, the pillar that keeps you standing amid the swirling waters. And do not let the memory of failure roar louder than my calling. Your past is not your destiny. What has happened does not erase what I have declared. Look again at your old wounds, you will see my fingerprints there, turning them into doors of healing. I do not erase mistakes. I use them as the canvas on which I paint a new story. So lift up your head. Memory has no right to chain you. It only has the right to remind you that you survived and that I was there. I have never changed my mind about you. Even when you were slow, lost, or forgetful of my words, I have looked upon you with unwavering trust. When you see only ashes, I see embers waiting to ignite. When you think you are nothing, I see a mission yet unfinished. I have never forgotten the plans I whispered into your soul, the words you once heard in those rare, quiet moments when you lifted your eyes to the heavens and felt your heart tremble. They have never vanished. They are only waiting for you to believe again. Therefore, my child, rise once more. Do not seek assurance in circumstance. Find it in me. I am your strength when you are weak, your shield when you are attacked, your truth when the world surrounds you with lies. Let me go before you. Let me teach you how to fight. Let me restore in you the courage that has fallen asleep. You do not need to prove yourself. Only allow me to live powerfully through you. Remember this. My child, you do not fight to be loved by me. You fight because you already are. And that love, not fear, will be the power that keeps you standing until the end. Keep walking even when you cannot see the destination, for I am the way. Keep fighting even when your hands tremble, for I am the strength within them. And when you are too weak to do anything but breathe, remember that breath itself is a prayer, and I am listening. My child, step out from the place where you've been hiding, the place where darkness has convinced you that safety lies in retreat, where fear and regret have woven walls that seem unbreakable. Do not let shame cover your light for one more day. Rise up and shake off the ashes of guilt and self-condemnation. For the cloaks of shame, despair, and remorse that you've been wearing do not belong to you. They are not your identity, not your inheritance. They are heavy, distorted, and ill-fitted to the shape of the soul I have designed. My child, you were not born to live in shame, but to dwell in the light of redemption. You were not destined to be imprisoned by memories, but to walk in freedom. For too long you have worn what was never yours, the accusations of others, the voice of the enemy, and the verdicts you pronounced upon yourself. But today I call you out from that place. Lay down every burden, for they no longer have power over you. Look, I stand before you, and in my hands is a new robe, the robe of righteousness, of grace, and of the fire of the Spirit. I have clothed you with glory that the world cannot give and cannot take away. My righteousness is not a reward for those who never fall, but a garment for those who dare to return. My grace is not reserved for the flawless, but for the weak who reach for my hand. And the flame I have placed within you is not meant to warm only yourself, but to shine for those still wandering as you once did. Never forget you were not saved merely to survive, but to become light. The time is now, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, but now. For every moment of hesitation the world loses a testimony, a lamp, a messenger. You cannot keep drifting in the numbness of someday, for time does not wait. There are doors that open only in this very moment, and I want you to walk through them. The days ahead will not be easy. They will demand from you the discernment to know what is true and what is false, what is my voice, and what is the echo of fear. They will require you to stand as one who knows to whom you belong, not bowed down in shame nor lifted in pride, but upright in faith. They will call you to walk a straight path, neither bending toward doubt nor leaning into compromise. For you live in an age where darkness no longer hides it, parades itself in garments of light, and only those who stand firm will see through its disguise. Listen carefully, my child, the world does not need more people who are merely fine. It needs souls that have awakened. I did not call you to stand on the sidelines watching the battle between good and evil. I called you to take part, to be a torch in the night. Do not trade your soul for comfort. Do not let fear make you abandon your sacred calling. There are souls waiting for the light within you to find their way home. There are lives suspended between despair and hope, waiting only for you to rise. Step forward, not in pride, but in humble faith. Step forward not to prove anything, but to testify that I am still alive, that grace is still powerful, that the fallen can rise again and shine brighter than ever before. Remember this: when you step forward, darkness will resist. But do not be afraid, for I have promised to go with you. The light within you does not come from your own strength, but from me. And when I go before you, no power can block the path I have set. Look back, my child, at the road you have walked. Every wound, every tear, every night you thought you were lost, none of it was wasted. They have all prepared you for this very hour. Every breaking deepened your soul. Every loss widened your heart to hold more grace. Nothing in your past has been wasted, for I have used every fragment to form a new vessel, one that now carries my light into the world. Seek no validation from people. The robe I place upon you needs no applause, for it is woven from the threads of eternity. Do not fear being misunderstood, for I did not call you to be understood. I called you to be faithful. And faithfulness is not about speed, but about direction, walking toward the light, walking toward me. Look around you, how many souls lie asleep in the paralysis of sin, how many wander searching for truth in a sea of illusions. And I am calling you not because you are skilled, but because you have been broken, and only those who have been broken know how to lift others. I did not choose you because you were worthy, but because you were willing, not because you were strong, but because you were soft enough for me to shape. Now, my child, rise with new courage. Clothe yourself in the garments of light, no longer bowing under the weight of your past, but lifting your head high because of grace. Let your steps become living testimony that redemption is real, that those once rejected can become messengers of glory. Do not fear change. It is not the end, but the birth of a new season, a season where you no longer live by fear, but by purpose. This moment is not merely a passing instant. It is an invitation for you to return to the very essence of who you were created to be in me. You are not a victim of the past. You are a living testimony of restoration. You are not forgotten. You are chosen to awaken. You are not a prodigal returning in shame. You are an heir stepping into your rightful place in my kingdom. Step forward, my child, no longer hiding, no longer afraid. Step forward, for your light is ready to shine. Step forward, for the world needs your voice. Step forward, for I, the one who has called you by name, who has washed away every trace of ashes, who has clothed you with glory, am waiting for you ahead. My beloved, in these days I am refining you not to wound you, but to prepare you for something deeper, stronger, and more enduring. Do not see the refining as punishment. See it as the furnace that turns metal into pure gold. I am not punishing you. I am training you. I am stripping away layers of weakness, old habits, and limited beliefs so that you may become lighter, purer, and strong enough to carry the greatness I am entrusting to you. If you could see the height of what I am preparing, you would understand why the fire must burn so hot. I am calling you to go deeper, deeper into me, deeper into understanding, deeper into faith. Do not fear that depth, for it does not come to make you lost, but to anchor your soul when storms arise. Those who only stand at the shore are easily swept away, but those who dare to dive deep are never carried off by the waves. My child, I do not want you to know me only through stories. I want you to know me through experience, through tears, through the stillness of the night, and through the flicker of light in the midst of darkness. For only in the deep will you learn to hear my whisper amidst the world's noise. You will never find what your soul truly longs for in shallow places. Do not seek peace in what is temporary, for true peace does not come from circumstance, but from the one who dwells within you. Do not seek validation from those who were never sent to understand you. They cannot hear what I have spoken privately to you, and so they cannot affirm it. You do not need anyone's approval to believe what I have declared for. My word is truth, and truth does not need agreement to become true. Do not run to dry wells hoping to find water. There are people, habits, and attachments that once felt like sources of life, but were only illusions. You have drunk deeply, yet remain thirsty, because it was never living water. I am the only spring that can satisfy your soul. When you learn to turn away from those dry wells, you will begin to hear the sound of living water flowing within you, the voice of the Holy Spirit, the voice of me. And my child, do not pretend to be powerless when I have already placed a sword in your hand. Many times you have sat in despair, saying you are weak, saying you cannot, but you have forgotten that I never send you into battle unarmed. You were not made to bow in defeat, but to rise in the authority of a child of God. The sword I have given you is not made of iron, but of my word, living sharp and full of power. Speak it, believe it, wield it. Do not keep my word locked in your heart as a memory. Use it as a weapon. When you speak, my word, heaven moves. When you declare your faith, hell trembles. When you raise the sword of the word, it cuts through every lie that says you are not enough, that you are unworthy, that it is too late. Let that word divide soul from spirit, illusion from truth, darkness from light, for only the word can separate what is real from what is false, what is alive from what is dead. The world is loud, my child. Everyone speaks, everyone teaches, everyone wants to lead you in their own way. But among all the noise, my voice still whispers. It does not shout, it does not force, it does not demand, but it endures steady and strong. It is like an underground stream flowing beneath the dry earth, silent yet never ceasing. And if you stay still long enough, you will hear me saying, you were made for something greater. You were made not to repeat the old life, but to step into a new chapter, where faith becomes your breath, where love conquers fear, where you finally know who you are in me. You were not born merely to survive each day, but to stand and fight for truth. Not by strength of the flesh, not by anger or argument, but by the power of the Spirit. For this battle is not between people, it is between light and darkness, between truth and deception, between faith and fear. You were created for battle, not to destroy others, but to break chains. There are souls imprisoned in fear, in shame, in nameless sorrow, and I have called you to tell them that freedom still exists, that hope is not dead. You are sent to tear down strongholds, those fortresses of the human mind built upon lies and sin. You are called to rip apart the wall that separates me from my children with love, with prayer, and with your very life as a living message of redemption. My child, remember this. The enemy's greatest fear is not the strong, but the one who remembers who they are. When you recall that you are a child of light, when you take up the sword of the word, when you stand upright in my righteousness, he cannot touch you. True strength does not come from shouting, but from peace in the midst of the storm. True authority does not come from clenched fists, but from a soul wholly surrendered to me. I am training you for a new season 1, where the darkness will grow thicker, but the light within you will burn brighter. You must learn to fight not through reaction, but through discernment, not through fear, but through love. I will teach you to recognize which battles are truly yours to fight, and which ones are merely distractions. I will teach you when to be silent and when to speak. I will teach you that sometimes victory is not when you defeat another, but when you refuse to let your heart grow bitter. And my beloved, never forget, the sword in your hand is not only for your protection, but for the deliverance of others. Every time you speak my word in love, you are cutting loose a bound soul. Every time you pray, you are swinging your sword in the spiritual realm. Every time you forgive, you are demolishing a wall that hell itself has built. You are called to be a bearer of fire, not the fire of anger, but of resurrection. That fire will illuminate, purify, and warm. You will no longer be one who merely talks about me, but one through whom I speak. And when that happens, the world will recognize this is not just a believer, but one who has been sent. My precious child, I have seen it all. Every battle you fought in silence, every sleepless night in the darkness of your soul, every tear that fell unnoticed. I have watched you strive to appear strong while your heart was breaking, smile through the emptiness, and pray when heaven seemed silent. You thought no one saw, but I saw. You thought no one understood, but I understood. Every sob that escaped your chest resounded in my heart like a prayer. Every tear that fell from your eyes was caught in my gentle hands. Not one drop fell in vain, and through all that time, I never turned away. I was there in the quiet room, in your sighs, in the stillness between your heartbeats. But now, my child, I say to you, enough. Not because your pain wasn't real, but because the time for healing has come. Not because your tears were meaningless, but because they have fulfilled their purpose. They have cleansed your soul, softened your heart, and made you ready to receive the new. Tears are not signs of weakness. They are proof of endurance. They are what flow when words can no longer speak. And I have used every tear as a seed sown into the soil, so that now among the ruins new life will begin to grow. My child, I am anointing your soul with fresh oil. This oil is not only to soothe, but to appoint, to sanctify, and to empower. I am pouring upon you the grace of a new season, a grace that will not merely help you stand firm, but cause you to walk in glory. Everything you have gone through was never meant to destroy you, but to prepare you for this very moment. Now I am breathing new life into your chest, the breath of life, of hope, of beginnings. That breath will reach into the deepest corners of your soul, into places you did not know had died. It will awaken dreams, you once buried longings you once thought had faded away. It will make your heart beat again with the rhythm of life, your eyes see with renewed vision, your feet move with courage that no longer trembles. You will live again, not merely exist, but truly live. You will live as one restored, as one who knows they have been redeemed, as one who understands that every scar on their body and soul is a testimony to my faithfulness. You will dream again, not of illusions or fading visions, but of the dreams I planted in your heart from the beginning. The dreams buried by fear, by the words of others, by failure. I am awakening them now. You think you are too old, too late, too weary to dream, but I say you are not. Every dream that comes from me carries the breath of eternal life, and it never dies. It merely sleeps, waiting for this moment, the moment when I breathe new life into your heart and say, live again. My child, you will walk again, not shuffling through fear or doubt, but stepping boldly. Yet this boldness is not the world's kind, where you must strain to appear brave or hide your weakness. The courage I give does not come from control, but from trust. It is not born of your effort to prove yourself, but from the certainty that you belong to me. The boldness of heaven is neither loud nor boastful, neither striving nor competing. It is a deep peace within the heart, the knowing that even when storms rise, you are held in my hand. It is the courage to love even when you have been wounded, to forgive even before an apology comes, to keep believing when nothing seems to change. It is strength born from surrender, from allowing me to fight for you to do what you cannot do. When you know who you are and whose you are, everything changes. You will no longer be a spiritual orphan chasing after approval, but a beloved child who knows they are loved without condition. No longer a prisoner bound by old guilt, you will step into the light of righteousness that I have clothed you with. You will no longer see yourself through the lens of failure, but through my eyes, the eyes that see in you a warrior, one anointed one, carrying a sacred mission in a fractured world. My child, I have seen you try to rise, fall again, and then rise once more. And each time I do not record your failures, I record your resilience. I do not count the times you stumbled, I count the times you returned. For to me your beauty lies not in perfection, but in faithfulness. Do you not know that as long as you still long for me, you have already overcome? The enemy trembles each time he sees you look up to heaven even after you fall. Believe this, I have never forgotten you. From the day you were formed, I placed upon you a destiny that no one can steal. You may have strayed, but you were never lost. You may have been weak, but I have never ceased to be strong for you. And today I am restoring you not only what was lost, but far beyond it. You will carry not only the joy of being healed, but also a profound understanding of my mercy. You will become a living testimony of grace. Everyone who looks at you will know that I still move, that restoration is not a dream but a reality. They will ask, what happened to you? And you will smile and say, I have met the one who is merciful. Through you I will touch many other souls, those who are where you once were, those who need to know that pain is not the end. My child, now is the time for you to rise, not in your own strength, but in mine. Let the new breath I breathe into you become a new song upon your lips. Let the new fire I kindle in your heart shine for others to see. Walk with the posture of one who is loved, one who is redeemed, one who carries the mark of heaven. You are no longer a victim, you are a bearer of victory. You are no longer the wounded, you are the one who carries the oil of healing for others. Therefore, my beloved, lift up your head. The old things have passed away, and I am making all things new. Breathe deeply the air of grace, and walk with the heart of one who has been chosen. Do not look back. Behind you is the desert, but before you lies the green pasture. And in every step you take, I will be there, not only as the one who leads, but as the one who lives within you, whispering with every heartbeat, my beloved child, rise, not in haste, but in the assurance that this moment is the one I have ordained. Step out of the comfort zone you've known too long, where you once mistook silence for peace, hesitation for humility, and retreat for wisdom. The season of hesitation has ended, and the days of withdrawal are over. Now you are called to stand in your true position, not the one you or the world assigned to you, but the one my own hands prepared before your first cry was heard. Take up the sword I have given you. It is not a sword of the flesh, but the word of life, the truth engraved within your very bones. It is a weapon that never rusts, never dulls, never fails, for it carries within it the creative power that once separated light from darkness and caused death to give way to life. Lift up your voice, not the voice of bitterness, but the voice of faith, of love, of truth. Do not fear that your voice is too small, for when you speak in obedience, heaven amplifies it into thunder across the spiritual realm. My child, I have called you not merely to survive, but to influence. Not to stand behind, but to stand rightly. Not to bow in shame, but to lift your head with the humility of one who knows they are sent. The maturity I am calling you into is not the aging of years, but the depth of faith where you no longer waver at the sound of the wind, nor tremble when darkness draws near, because you know the foundation upon which you stand. I am calling you into clarity, where all confusion will fade, where you no longer live by emotion but by revelation. You will see your purpose more clearly than ever before, not with the eyes of the flesh, but with the eyes of the Spirit. And with that clarity, I grant you an inheritance not of gold or power, but of influence of life that multiplies and endures. For my child, your victory will not end with you. There are those waiting for your obedience. They may not know it, but their souls are thirsty, longing, aching, crying out for deliverance. When you move, they will awaken. When you overcome, they will be strengthened. When you believe, they will begin to seek. You think this journey is only about you, but it is not. It is a stream that flows across generations, a spiritual chain reaction in which a single step of your obedience can shake an entire people. You cannot fathom the power of one soul who dares to say yes to me in this age. You have been given territory not only in the visible world, but also in the realm of the Spirit. I have marked your sphere of influence, and no one else can step into it in your place. Within that territory are people, hearts, and souls lying dormant, waiting for one word, one act, one prayer from you to awaken. There are doors that only you can open, for the key rests in your hand. There are wounds that only you can touch, for I have allowed you to experience similar pain, not to break you, but to give you the compassion to understand without judging, to love without demanding. Do you think yourself too small to change anything? My child, you were born with the imprint of eternity. Every prayer you whisper in solitude does not vanish into the air. It becomes a seed planted in the soil of the Spirit. When you pray, heaven moves. When you rise, darkness retreats. When you obey, my plan advances. Everything begins not with thunder, but with a single soul brave enough to believe that my promise is true. So lift up your voice. The voice of faith has the power to awaken the world. Your voice is not merely sound. It carries creative power, the breath of my Spirit, the life that revives dry places. Every word you speak in. My name is a strike against deceit, a beam of light piercing the shadows. Do not remain silent, for your silence may allow many souls to stay asleep. My child, I did not choose you because you are perfect, but because you are willing to learn to fall, to rise again, and to let me shape you. Everything I do in you is not to prove my power, but to reveal that I can turn ashes into beauty scars, into testimonies, and the once frail into warriors of hope. You are living proof that I make all things new. I am not searching for flawless souls, but for obedient ones. For obedience is greater than understanding, and faithfulness stronger than ability. When you obey me, you will see what your mind could never imagine. You will watch doors open not by your strength, but by my hand. Walls crumble not by your shouting, but because I have breathed upon them. Arise, my child, and reclaim your territory, not by violence, but by prayer. Not through argument, but through love. Not by earthly power, but by the authority that comes from heaven. Walk in the confidence of one who has been sent, for I have placed my seal upon you. Even if you cannot see it, the hosts of heaven watch every step you take, for each footprint you leave echoes with the sound of eternity. And remember this, no one can do it for you. No one can speak your voice, no one can pray your prayers, no one can love with your heart. You are the irreplaceable piece in my grand design, and if you do not take your place, the picture remains incomplete. But when you stand where I have appointed you, when you dare to say, yes, everything aligns in perfect harmony, like a symphony I composed before the beginning of time, My child, go now. Rise up, take your sword, and step into the land that belongs to you. Open your mouth, even if your voice trembles, for I will speak through you. Lift your hands, even if they feel weak, for I will strengthen them. Believe, even if your eyes do not yet see, for I am working behind the veil. You are no longer one who is merely called, you are one who is being sent. My beloved, you do not walk through the darkness alone. Every step you take has been woven into the plan I set in motion from the very beginning. The path you tread did not appear by accident. It has been crafted across ages with every detail so precise that not even a single strand of your hair falls without my knowing. I have gone before you through every turn, every hill, every valley. Where you will pause, I have already sat. Where you will tremble, I have raised pillars of faith. Where you will fear, I have scattered light so you would not lose your way. So when the winds rise against you, do not be alarmed. The wind never blows against you unless something is moving toward the light. The resistance you face is not proof of failure, but a sacred sign that you are drawing near to what is holy, the place where darkness no longer holds power. Do not retreat, my child. Do not turn back because of the whisper of fear. Every step forward you take is a declaration before heaven and earth that my kingdom is advancing. When you stand firm against the wind, the trembling and the shaking, that is when the darkness realizes it is already lost. For my power is not displayed on easy mountaintops, but revealed in the lowest places where a soul bows and whispers, "Be with me, Lord." Every act of your obedience, whether as small as a midnight prayer or a quiet tear that chooses forgiveness, is a hammer striking the chains of darkness. You may think you are living an ordinary day, but I tell you this, in the realm of the Spirit, heaven's armies rejoice each time. You choose faith over fear, love over resentment, and steadfastness over retreat. And when you do not know what to pray, simply call my name. That name is not a sound, it is the doorway through which heaven intervenes. When you whisper Jesus, all of heaven pauses to listen. When you feel overwhelmed, do not strive to appear strong. Speak my promises softly to your heart. They will hold you when your feet falter like an anchor in a restless sea. I do not require you to understand every plan. I only ask that you remember I am here in every trembling breath you take. When you want to give up, remember this moment, the moment I speak, to remind you that you are not alone. For faith is not the easy road, but the one illuminated by my presence. When you keep walking, not because you are strong, but because you believe, that is when you are truly living the purpose of your calling. My child, there will be times when the darkness will try to convince you that my silence means absence. But know this, I am never silent to abandon you. I am silent to work more deeply. Like a refiner purifying gold in fire, I am refining your faith through adversity. The fire is not sent to consume you, but to separate the true from the false, the eternal from the temporary. When everything around you seems to collapse, that is when I am rebuilding the foundation to carry the glory that is coming. Every time you fall, I do not look away. I kneel beside you, lift you up, brush off the dust, and set you back on your feet, because I did not call you to fall but to overcome. Yet true victory does not come when your sword is sharp, but when your heart wholly belongs to me. Do not think that I require perfect prayers. I only desire honest ones. When your lips tremble, when your voice is choked, when you can express nothing but a sigh, the Holy Spirit still understands. He turns your tears into a heavenly language that I hear clearly. So do not be afraid of weakness, and do not be ashamed when you do not know what to say. As long as you still whisper, "Lord, help me," all of heaven is already in motion. For faith does not need to be loud, it only needs to be truthful. Remember, even a mustard seed of faith can move a mountain. And you are holding that seed in your heart right now, even if you do not realize it. I know there are times you grow weary. There are moments you ask, Do these steps mean anything at all? But my child, not a single step is wasted. Every time you choose to take one more step in the dark, heaven takes note. Every time you choose to believe without seeing the way, you are opening a door for those who will come behind you to pass through. You think you are walking alone, but in truth I am using you to cut a path for an entire generation, people who are waiting to see proof that faith is still alive, and through your very life they will see it. Therefore, do not let fear define reality. Let faith rewrite what you have believed to be impossible. Let love thaw the places you thought were dead, and when the winds rise again, do not pray for the storm to cease. Pray for your heart to stand firm. For I have promised, when you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and when you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned. Isaiah 4:3-2. That promise never changes, no matter the circumstances. You need only keep your eyes on me, as Peter did upon the sea. Only when you look down at the waves do you begin to sink. Now, my child, stand upright. Breathe in deeply the breath of life I give. Look ahead even if you cannot yet see the finish, for light is already waiting at the end of the road. I have gone before you, and I will not leave you alone. Every wound, every tear, every long night is being woven into the tapestry of grace. And when you look back, you will understand the places you thought were dead ends were in fact doors leading you into my kingdom. Do not retreat, do not lose heart, for each step you keep taking is a testimony that love triumphs, and that love is me. My child, there are people lost within the labyrinth of their own thoughts, not because they desire it, but because they have forgotten where the exit is. In hours of despair, fear, or confusion, they turn their whole soul inward, searching for answers within themselves, instead of lifting their eyes to the only light that can set them free. I see people circling through countless ideas like a boat that has slipped its anchor in a stormy sea, carried off by waves of emotion and winds of doubt, until they can no longer discern what is true or what is my voice. You ask me why the mind so easily drifts, why the soul forgets what it once knew so well, that my word is not an ancient memory, but a living source, mighty, near, and powerful to redeem. Listen closely, my child. I do not come to you in thunder or in a consuming flame of judgment, but in the voice of a father, gentle, yet steady, tender, yet strong enough to awaken a sleeping soul. I speak to you not to condemn, but to draw you back near to me where peace is waiting. For I know this, the human mind is a powerful gift I have given, and it is also the most easily occupied when you drift from the source of light. The mind was not made to float aimlessly, but to be connected to the one who breathed life into it, that it might meditate on my word day and night. Imagine the things of heaven create together with me in all things and reflect my will on earth as it is in heaven. But when the mind is separated from the source of life, when it is no longer led by the Holy Spirit, it becomes a fierce battlefield, a place where darkness sows seeds of doubt, fear, and resentment. In that moment, your thoughts are no longer instruments of creation, but invisible chains. The noise of worry drowns out the whisper of grace. Emotions once meant to reflect truth rise to dominance and pull you into exhaustion. Unhealed wounds begin to speak in my place, and within the soul truth is distorted by the echoes of the past. No one wakes up one morning and decides to forget me. Forgetfulness does not happen in an instant, but in countless tiny moments of distraction. It begins when you let a doubtful thought pass without bringing it to me, when you hold onto a wound without lifting it up in prayer, when you choose silence instead of conversation with me. Step by step, through small distances, your soul drifts away from its original home, the place where I still wait. I see this in many of my children's minds, created to soar high, yet pulled down by the gravity of fear. Instead of meditating on my word, they meditate on their pain. Instead of imagining what I have promised, they imagine what could go wrong. And because the mind carries creative power, what they imagine gradually becomes reality. They build walls of anxiety around themselves with their own thoughts. They imprison their souls in the dungeons of assumption while the key still rests in my hand, but I do not abandon them. I stand outside those walls patiently knocking, waiting for the moment they pause and look up, for just one glance can change everything. My child, the mind is a river, and you are the one steering the boat. When that river is guided by the Holy Spirit, it flows gently through the meadows of peace, watering the gardens of grace. But when you let the winds of doubt direct it, it overflows, sweeping away all joy. Therefore, learn to watch over what you think. Let my word become the anchor amid the sea of your thoughts. When fear arises, do not try to drive it away. Invite me in. When painful memories return, do not try to forget. Allow me to touch them. When you cannot control the current of your thoughts, simply say, Lord, reign over my mind. I will come not as a storm, but as a gentle breeze that clears the fog and lets the sun of truth shine again. I created your mind not to be a slave to emotions, but so that emotions might serve the soul. Your mind is where my word longs to dwell. It is the fertile soil where I plant seeds of truth, so that from them may grow forests of wisdom, discernment, and peace. Yet if you allow the enemy to sow seeds of doubt, those too will sprout, for the soil of the mind does not distinguish between good and bad seeds. It simply brings forth what is planted, therefore guard it. Do not let every piece of news, every word, every dark memory take root. Water it with my word, tend it through prayer, and I promise it will bear the fruit of peace that surpasses all understanding. Know this, my child, I do not condemn those who struggle within their minds. I have come to rescue them. I know what it feels like to be trapped in cycles of thought when every answer seems blurry, when the night feels endless. But in that very moment I call your name, I say, my child, be still. Let me think for you. For faith is not born from striving to understand, but from daring to rest in my embrace. When you release the need to control everything, your mind will begin to heal. Then instead of being a battlefield, it will once again become a temple where I dwell within you. My beloved, if today you feel your mind drifting, do not fear. As soon as you turn back, I am still here. Look up, not down. Fix your eyes away from the storm and toward my light. Everything you are seeking, peace, clarity, strength, does not lie within spinning thoughts, but within my presence. Let your mind be still before me, and you will see even the most chaotic thoughts will bow in the peace of the Creator. And from that moment, you will understand what you need is not to control your mind, but to return it to me, the one who formed it in love. My child, I want you to understand something. Profound thoughts are not merely passing winds in the mind. They are seeds with the power to give birth to life or to sow death. Every thought you allow to linger within your mind is seeking a place to take root. When you open your heart to a thought, no matter how small, it begins to look for soil, for water, for light to grow within your soul. Some seeds, when watered by fear, will grow into despair. Some, when nourished by pride, will rise into arrogance and distance. But there are also seeds which, when sown by my word, will sprout into life, peace, and divine purpose. I have given you the miraculous gift of thought, not to become the chain that binds you in restlessness and fatigue, but so that you may create with me, contemplate with me, and walk with me in truth. For I speak in the deepest place within your being, the place where the soul listens through stillness, not through noise. My spirit always whispers in silence, inscribing my words upon your heart, like an artist engraving the patterns of heaven. But when your mind is filled with the clamor of the world, when the whispers of worry, of hurt, of earthly demands grow loud, my voice seems to fade, not because I am silent, but because you have tuned your ear to the wrong frequency. Many have spent their whole lives listening to the voice of pain until they no longer recognize the call of the gentle shepherd who is drawing them home. They have listened to fear for so long that my voice has become foreign to them. And there are those who were never taught that the mind must be renewed by my word. They think every thought they have is true, that every feeling they feel is the compass of reality. But my child, that is not so. The mind is not your master. It is a student that must be taught by the Holy Spirit. If you do not teach it with my word, the world will teach it with fear. Thoughts are like a river that never ceases to flow. It will carry whatever you cast into it. If you throw into that water the stones of doubt, it will shatter your faith. But if you cast into it my word, that river will become a stream of living water, refreshing your soul. Therefore, guard your mind as a farmer tends his field. Examine what seeds are being sown. Pull out the weeds of destructive thoughts, and let my word soften the soil so it may receive the seeds of truth and peace. Remember this, I never speak through the noise of panic. My voice is gentle, yet it carries the power to move mountains within the soul. When you become still enough to hear, you will know that I have never left you. It is in stillness that I speak most clearly. I am not in the storm nor in the fire, but in the gentle breeze that passes through your spirit, where faith finds its breath again and hope is reborn. But my child, if your mind has been overtaken by the voices of fear, do not condemn yourself. Remember, darkness does not need your permission to enter it, only needs your neglect. That is why I call you to guard your mind, not with tension but with awareness in the spirit. When a thought contrary to truth arises, bring it into the light of my word. Ask it, do you reflect the love and nature of the Savior? If it does not, let it go. Do not argue with darkness. Simply turn on the light and it will vanish. Thoughts hold the power to shape the world within you, and the world within you will in turn shape the world you live in. When you allow negative thoughts to take root, they begin to influence how you perceive everything around you. You start to see darkness even when the sun is shining. But when you let my words guide the flow of your thoughts, that light will pierce through every circumstance, and you will begin to see miracles hidden in the most ordinary things. I did not create you to be a victim of your own mind. I created you to rule over it. You are called to think as Christ thinks, to reflect my own thoughts. When you meditate on my word, not only your mind is renewed, but your soul, emotions, and actions are also transformed. What once felt like a burden will become a lesson. What once made you tremble will become a testimony of my faithfulness. I know that at times you find it hard to be still in this noisy world. Every voice around you tries to pull you away from the center of peace. But my child, learn to return to the stillness within where I am waiting. There your thoughts are no longer chaotic noise, but become a song of faith. There my word is no longer something you strive to remember, but the natural heartbeat of your soul. So, my beloved, let me teach you how to think again. Do not let the past rewrite your present in the language of fear. Let me rewrite your story in the language of grace. When a sorrowful thought rises, remind it of hope. When a proud thought appears, let it bow before love. When fear knocks at your door, answer it with this promise: the Lord is with me. I will not be afraid. Your mind is not your enemy. It only needs to remember who its master is. And when you allow me to take that place again, you will witness a miracle. Even the thoughts that once carried darkness can become witnesses of light. For once placed in my hands, everything, even your thoughts, can be transformed, sanctified, and used for good. My child, let me replant the garden of your mind. Let me uproot the old seeds of fear, anxiety, and insecurity, and sow in their place the seeds of peace, trust, and love. Let my spirit breathe through that garden each day, so your ideas may become as pure as the morning light, and your thoughts may carry the fragrance of heaven. For only when your mind is renewed can your soul truly be free. And when your soul is free, you will see that My kingdom is not far away, but has already begun within you. My dear one, I never turn my back on a wandering soul. I do not stand afar, pointing fingers in judgment. I run toward you through the darkness, breaking through the barriers of sin and fear to find my lost child. When you go astray, I follow your footprints. When you fall, I kneel beside you to lift you up. My love never tires, and my grace has no limits. But you must understand this. Your thoughts can betray you if they are not anchored in truth. The mind can be a faithful companion when guided by the Spirit, but it can also become a rebel that leads you into the maze of doubt if you drift away from my word, my child. It is not dry ink on an ancient page. It is a living stream, a moving breath, a sacred flame that can illuminate the deepest places of your heart. Every time you open the scriptures, you are not merely reading a page, you are opening a door through which I step in to speak to you. Within every line, within every word, there beats my heart, gentle yet strong, calling you home, whispering the eternal promise that you have never been forsaken. When thoughts surge like a flood and your mind is consumed by the chaos of fear, remember this: do not let yourself sink. Water only swallows those who stay silent, but the one who speaks will rise above. Open your mouth and proclaim the truth, not what you feel, but what I have spoken. Feelings are real, but they are not always right. They are like the wind shifting with days and circumstances. But my word is not like that. My word is the solid rock, the anchor that steadies your soul amid the roaring sea. When you declare what has been written, you are not merely speaking words, you are placing your soul upon the foundation of heaven. My child, learn to discern between what you feel and what I say. Feelings may convince you that I am silent, but truth declares that I never leave. Feelings may tell you that you have failed, but truth declares that you are redeemed, chosen, and loved. Feelings may whisper that everything is over, but truth proclaims that I am making all things new. Remember this: I never taught you to deny your emotions. I taught you to place them under the authority of truth. For if you let feelings lead the way, you will wander. But if you let truth guide you, your feelings will be healed. I gave you emotions not so they could rule you, but so you could perceive the world, be moved by goodness, and grieve for what is wrong. Yet emotions are signals, not compasses. They are waves reflecting the light, not the sun itself. Do not let the waves make you forget the source of light. And I have also given you thoughts to reflect, to create, and to understand me more deeply. But if you let thoughts dominate rather than serve, you will become imprisoned by your own intellect. Thought was never meant to be king. It was meant to bow before the Creator. Therefore I have given you my Spirit, not as an abstract idea, but as a living presence within you. He is your guide, the breath of heaven dwelling in fragile humanity. My Spirit does not merely remind you of my word, He makes it alive. When you read, He illuminates. When you pray, He translates your groanings into intercession. When you are silent, He whispers the truths your heart needs to hear. You are not left to fight your own thoughts and emotions alone. You have my Spirit with you, and He is wisdom beyond all human reasoning. Learn this. My beloved, faith is not measured by the intensity of emotion, but by the endurance of trust. There will be days when you feel my presence burning within like fire, and days when you feel nothing but emptiness. Yet that does not change the truth that I am still there. My love does not depend on what you feel, and my plan is not altered by the storms inside you. When you no longer feel me, remember, faith does not require feeling. It requires a decision. I choose to believe. Every time you declare my word, in the midst of the storm, heaven moves. You are speaking on the same frequency as the one who created the universe. When you say, you are faithful, even without evidence, that declaration becomes the rope that pulls you out of the depths. When you say, you are my light, even while the night still lingers, The dawn begins to break, though you cannot yet see it. And when you say, "You are my Father," even with a broken heart, I draw nearer than ever before. Know this, my child, the greatest battle is not out there, it is in your mind. But I have armed you with my word, with the spirit of truth, with the ability to discern between what is real and what is false. When you stand at that threshold, do not choose comfort, choose truth. For truth may wound you for a moment, but it will set you free forever. Let my word become your heartbeat. Do not merely read it, live it. Do not merely hear it, let it pulse through your veins. When you wake, let it be your first thought. When you lie down, let it be your final whisper. Only when your mind is anchored in my word will you remain steady in the currents of this world. Let my word be your compass, your anchor, your lamp upon your path, and I promise you, my child, that if you let truth be your guide, you will not lose your way. When the storm rises, you will not be swept away. When the world changes, you will still stand firm. For when my spirit dwells within you and my word lives upon your lips, you do not merely exist, you carry life itself to the world around you. That is what I desire, that you become a living testimony that light still triumphs over darkness, and that truth continues to echo through every generation through your very life. My beloved child, when I make you aware of sin, it is not to humiliate you or make you bow your head in shame. I never use your sin against you. I let you see it only so you may know where you are, so you may understand that you need a way home. Accusation is the weapon of the enemy, but awareness is the gift of the Holy Spirit. I correct, but I never disgrace. I shape, but I never crush. I heal through truth, not condemn through judgment. Each time I reveal a wound, it is because I long to bind it. Each time I expose a mistake, it is because I am opening the door for you to enter true freedom. I give you my word not to control or restrain you, but to set your soul free from the chains of fear, sin, and deceit. Within every page of Scripture, you will not find a distant God, but encounter me, the one whispering love between the lines. Each verse, each phrase, carries the rhythm of my heart. When you read, you are not merely learning, you are hearing my breath, feeling the warmth of your Father. Every promise there is a golden key that unlocks doors humanity has sealed shut with doubt. My commands are not shackles, but fences that guard you from the abyss. They were not given to limit you, but to guide you along the path of blessing. But you must return to the Word as the prodigal child returns home after years of running. You must relearn how to meditate, how to listen, how to live. Not as the world teaches, to empty the mind and let go of everything, to find stillness for emptiness without me. Only make space for darkness to enter. I do not call you to emptiness. I call you to fullness, fullness of truth, of light, of my word. When the world tells you to forget, I tell you to remember. Remember who I am, remember who you are. Remember the covenant between us. Meditate in my way. Let my word fill your mind until it soaks into your soul like rain into the soil. Let truth dwell not only on your lips, but in your heartbeat, in your breath, in every quiet reaction of your being. Let your thoughts intertwine with mine, so that when you speak words of life. The world tells you to look within for answers, but, my child, when you wander in darkness, the light is not within you, must look up. Lift your eyes to where the light comes from. For your help does not come from reason, nor from your own strength, but from me, the one who made heaven and earth, the one who sustains your every breath. When you lift your eyes, you will see that I am still there, unchanging arms outstretched as they were in the dawn of creation. There is no dead end. I cannot open no depth, my hand cannot reach. When you do not know how to pray, simply lift your eyes and breathe, Lord. That single word I have already heard. I know the world teaches you to trust your mind, your feelings, your knowledge, but reason, if not anchored in truth, will only lead you wandering in the desert of doubt. You will keep searching but never arrive. Yet when you look up, everything changes, not because the circumstances shift, but because you rise above them. Just as the eagle does not fight the storm, but soars above it, so your soul will learn to rise on the wings of faith. My child, I do not want you to live as someone who merely fears making mistakes. I want you to live as one who loves the truth, for love draws you closer, while fear only makes you hide. When you read my word with a heart of fear, you will see commandments, but when you read it through love, you will see me. Every commandment, when seen through the light of love, ceases to be an order and becomes an invitation to enter a deeper, freer, and truer life. When I say return, it is not because I am angry, but because I miss you. When I say let that go, it is not because I want to take your joy away, but because I want you to know what true joy is. When I say forgive, it is not because I want you to lose, but because I long to lift the burden from your shoulders. Everything I speak comes from one unchanging thing: my eternal love. Look up, my child. Do not search for yourself in the shadows, for you were not born from darkness. Do not measure your soul by the light of this world, for it will only lead you astray. Look up to where I stand, where the fountain of life flows unceasingly. When you fix your eyes upon me, the darkness will slowly fade, not because you understand everything, but because you have chosen the right direction. Sometimes one upward glance toward heaven is enough to begin again. I know there are times when you feel unworthy to draw near to me. But my child, in the very moment you feel farthest away, I am the closest to you. I do not wait for you to be perfect before I love you. I love you so that you may be healed. I do not wait for you to be complete before I call you home. I call you so that we may walk together through the journey of becoming new. You cannot save yourself, but I can. You cannot fix every mistake, but I can turn every mistake into something meaningful. Let my word become your breath again. Do not read it merely to know, but to live. Do not listen merely to remember, but to be transformed. When you do this, your mind will no longer be overwhelmed by fear, but filled with peace. You will no longer wander through the maze of thoughts, for truth will become the light that guides your way. And then you will understand what I have always sought is not your perfection, but your upward gaze. A heart that dares to believe that even after falling countless times, there is still a hand ready to lift it up. A heart that chooses to trust in what the eyes have not seen, what the ears have not heard yet, what the soul knows to be true. My child, look up, for your help does not come from within yourself, but from me, the one who watches over you, whose eyes have never left you, not even for a second. My child, the enemy cannot destroy the plan I have ordained for your life, but he is cunning. He knows that if he cannot touch your destiny, he will try to make you stop believing in it. He cannot undo what I have spoken, but he can make you doubt it. He cannot break my protection, but he can tempt you to remove it yourself through fear and distrust. The enemy does not need to strip you of your power. He only needs to convince you to forget that you have it. And that, my child, has been his ancient strategy since the Garden of Eden, to plant a seed of doubt in your mind so that you withdraw from the light on your own. He will bind you with thoughts that sound right but are not true. He does not come with horns and a tail, but cloaked in reasonable logic, realistic thinking, and natural understanding. He speaks in the voice of worry, whispering, "It's too late. You're not good enough. God has forgotten you." And if you are not alert, those whispers will echo through your mind. The enemy does not need to defeat you on the battlefield outside. He only needs to make you surrender within your own thoughts. For when your mind is occupied, your faith weakens, and when faith is paralyzed, you will stand in the middle of the battle, thinking you have already lost. He knows the power of thought. He understands that what you dwell upon is what you become. That is why he constantly tempts you to focus on failure, instead of faith, on pain instead of hope. He stirs up old memories so that you might forget that I have already cleansed your past with the blood of my Son. He reminds you of your mistakes to block your vision from the promise that lies ahead. He wants you to believe that fear is reasonable, that doubt is wise, and that passivity is safe. But my child, that is an illusion, a veil of lies covering the truth that you are one who carries the authority of heaven. When your mind is occupied by fear, you forget that authority. You begin to act like a prisoner, even though the cell door has long been opened. You live like a beggar, though you bear the name of a king's child. You whisper prayers as if I were distant, even though I am closer than your own breath. That is why I call you to be intentional, to stay awake, to be conscious of every thought you allow to pass through your mind. Your mind is sacred ground, and the enemy always seeks to sow seeds there. Yet I have placed in your hands the power to choose. Whom will you allow to sow? Guard your mind, my child. Do not let it become a barren field where the winds of deception blow freely. Be vigilant about what you absorb, what you hear, what you read, what you discuss each day. For what you allow into your mind will gradually shape your soul. If you constantly feed on negative words, you will begin to see the world through the lens of failure. If you nourish yourself with fear, your faith will grow hungry. If you let your heart be filled with comparison and envy, you will lose the joy that was meant to be yours. Choose a different way of living, my child. Choose to fill your soul with what nourishes life. Let the sound of my word be the music that plays in your mind. Read my word not only to know, but to believe, not only to learn, but to live. When your mind overflows with truth, darkness will have no place to hide. Just as a room filled with light leaves no corner for shadows, a mind saturated with truth causes every lie to vanish. Guard even the words you repeat, for what you speak becomes seeds sown into your soul and into the souls of those around you. When you speak of fear, you water it. When you repeat a lie, you give it power to exist. But when you declare truth, you set divine movement into motion. Every confession about me is a beam of light piercing the darkness. Every time you say, I believe, you, Lord Heaven, rejoices and hell trembles. Therefore, do not let your mouth agree with the enemy. Let your lips become instruments of light. Do not align yourself with lies that do not echo my voice. Lies often come with a sweet tone, but they always carry the bitterness of bondage. Truth may wound at first, but it always carries the fragrance of freedom. So measure every thought, every voice, every whisper by the standard of my word. If a thought does not produce peace, it is not from me. If it makes you doubt, my love cast it out. If it convinces you that you are not forgiven, respond with what is written. There is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. My child, you are not a victim of your thoughts. You are the steward of them. You have the power to say no to lies and yes to truth. Do not be passive in the battle of the mind, for it is there that destiny is decided. Each morning you wake, choose to clothe yourself in my armor. Gird yourself with truth, wear the breastplate of righteousness, and place upon your head the helmet of hope and salvation. When you do this, the enemy may roar, but he cannot touch you. My child, never forget that faith does not grow in comfort, but in intentionality. When you become aware that you must keep watch, you have already taken your place on the battlefield. When you recognize that you are under attack, you are already preparing for victory. Remember, the enemy does not fear those who know about me. He fears those who believe in me. He does not tremble before those who have religious feelings, but before those who understand the power of declaration. Therefore, do not remain silent. Speak what I have spoken. Remind yourself of what I have promised. Proclaim what I have decreed. And as you do this, my child, your mind will become a fortress of light. No lie will find a place to dwell. No seed of fear will take root. You will walk not in trembling, but in authority. You will speak to the mountain without doubt, and it will move. You will stand in the midst of the storm unshaken, because you know who stands beside you. Then the world will see not a perfect person, but one who has learned to believe. One who knows that no matter how many lies the enemy whispers, the word of God remains the unshakable, everlasting truth. My child, begin to speak what I speak, even when your emotions have not yet caught up, even when your heart has not yet felt it to be real. For truth does not wait for emotion to agree. Truth remains truth, whether you tremble or are at peace. When you lift your voice in agreement with my word, you open the door for heaven to move within your life. Do not wait until you feel strong enough to speak, for it is precisely when you are weak but still choose to declare my word that my power is most clearly revealed. Speak as though you already believe, for when your mouth aligns with truth, your mind will be renewed, and your emotions will gradually come under the authority of my Spirit. You are not a victim of your thoughts, never believe otherwise. Thoughts come and go, but you have the power to decide which ones may stay. Thoughts are not kings, they are guests, and you made in my image are the gatekeeper. The enemy will try to make you believe that you are swept away by your own mind, that you cannot control it, but that is a lie. I have given you authority to govern your thoughts. You can take every thought captive, not by your own strength, but through my word and the power of the Holy Spirit. When a thought rises that does not align with my truth, say no. Take hold of it, bind it, and lay it down at the foot of the cross. That is how you fight, not with sword or spear, but with truth and faith. Do not let your thoughts roam wild like untamed beasts in the garden of your soul. Every thought is a seed, and if you do not guard it, it will grow into trees you never meant to plant. Some thoughts are like weeds, small at first glance, but if allowed to spread, they will choke the seeds of life. Remember, what you allow yourself to meditate on each day will shape who you become. If you dwell on fear, fear will take root. If you linger on loss, sorrow will find a home. But if you set your mind on my word, on what is good, pure, and praiseworthy, then my peace will flow like a river covering your soul. Do not feed the wolves of fear and despair, my child. They grow on what you nourish them with your anxious words, your dark imaginations, your unhealed memories. But you can starve them by cutting off their food supply. Do not converse with fear. Speak with me. Do not cling to despair. Let me hold you instead. Whenever fear comes, do not chase it with arguments. Simply say, I trust you, Lord. For faith does not argue with the darkness. It simply turns on the light. Instead of feeding those wolves, feed your spirit. Let your soul partake of the bread of life and drink from the water of promise. Spend time with me, not only in the appointed hours of prayer, but in every breath you take. When you pause amid a busy day and whisper, Lord, I know you are here, that is, when the seed of peace is planted. When you give thanks for something small, even for the morning sunlight or a deep breath, your soul is nourished by gratitude. And when you forgive someone even before they ask you, make more room for my spirit to move freely within you. And my child, believe this. My spirit within you is never weak. He is always ready to rise like a flame waiting to be stirred. But that flame only ignites when you make room for it, when you clear away the noise, the fears, and the false assumptions about who you are. When you step back, he steps forward. When you fall silent before your fear, he speaks with power. When you open your mouth to declare what I have spoken, he confirms it with peace that surpasses understanding. Do not think peace comes only when everything around you is calm. My peace manifests in the midst of the storm, for it does not come from circumstances, but from my presence dwelling in you. My peace is not a fleeting feeling. It is the atmosphere of heaven itself. It is unmoved by what you hear or see. When you abide in my presence, that peace grows like a rising tide, softening every edge of fear. It will teach you how to breathe again, how to trust again, how to live again. This peace does not promise to explain everything, but it guarantees that you will not collapse before anything. It does not make you numb, it makes you strong in love. It does not erase every trial, but it forms in you the strength to stand firm within them. Remember, my child, faith and peace do not sprout in a neglected mind, but in a deliberate one. You cannot sit still and expect fear to vanish. You must choose to believe. You cannot wait for darkness to recede on its own. You must turn on the light. Begin to speak what I have spoken, not only in prayer, but as you work, as you walk, as you look in the mirror and feel weary. Say, the Lord is within me. Say, I am not defeated. Say, He is my peace. Every word you speak cuts through the invisible chains that have bound you. And then as you keep speaking it day after day, a miracle will unfold. The thoughts that once frightened you will lose their strength. The voices that once echoed in your mind will fade until only one voice remains, mine. You will no longer be led by wolves, but guided by the Lamb. You will no longer live by reaction, but by intention. You will no longer search for peace, because you will have become the dwelling place of peace itself. I tell you this, so you will understand that your victory does not lie in trying to control everything, but in learning to rest in my hands. Let my word become your breath. Let my presence be the air you breathe. When you live this way, my spirit will rise within you, not loudly but powerfully, not hastily but steadily, not from the outside but from deep within your heart. And my peace will flow like a river, sweeping away fear, healing every wound, and bringing your soul home to where it truly belongs, in my arms where nothing can shake you. My child, when your mind begins to spiral into the cycles of anxiety, when your thoughts crash like relentless waves against the shore of your soul, come to me. Do not try to define your feelings. Do not wait until you can find the right words. Just come. Just breathe out one whisper, Lord, help me. Even a single whisper is enough to set heaven in motion. I do not seek polished prayers. I seek an honest heart. Your prayers do not need to be perfect, for I do not count your words. I listen to the rhythm of your heart. As soon as your eyes turn toward me, as soon as your soul returns, I am already there, ready to hold you close. My child, I know there are moments when you cannot speak, only weep. There are times when words run dry, when your mind grows dim and your soul trembles through the long night. But know this, my spirit intercedes for you with groanings too deep for words. When you cannot find what to say, He finds the words for you. When you fall silent in weakness, heaven still hears. His intercession is the bridge between your heart and mine, a thread unseen, yet stronger than any sound. So do not think you must do something grand to draw near to me. I am not as far as you imagine. Heaven is not upon some distant mountain. It is beside you in every breath, in every whisper. In the quiet moment when you lift your eyes toward me, my word too is near. It does not live only on printed pages, but in the air you breathe, in the light of each dawn, in the pulse of your beating heart. Speak it at sunrise to begin your day in truth. Speak it in the storm when everything around you seems to fall apart. Speak it in stillness when you think, I do not hear, for it is in that silence your voice carries farthest. Let my word become your heartbeat, woven into your breath and your steps. Do not let it remain only on your lips. Let it sink deep into your mind, soak into the fibers of your soul, until when darkness tries to return, it finds no resting place. For where my word shines, darkness cannot linger. This is how you will stand firm, my child, not by your strength, not by endurance, but by the life of my spirit within you. True strength does not come from striving, but from surrender. When you stop and let me move, that is when my power begins to work. When you are weak, I am strong. When you are weary, I lift you up. When you fall, I catch you. And in my presence you will learn what the world can never teach: peace in the storm, faith in the midst of doubt, and hope rising from ashes. I will never leave you, even when your mind grows loud enough to drown out my voice. You cannot exhaust me or drive me away. You cannot disappoint me enough for me to abandon you, even when your memory forgets, I remember you. Even when you turn the other way, I follow close behind. I am the shepherd of your soul, the one who never forgets even a single wandering sheep. I will lead you out of the valley of shadows, not with shouts but with patience, not through pressure but through gentle love. I will restore your soul not with force but with quiet whispers, through the peace that comes to you without explanation. My child, return to me not once but every day. Returning is not the act of failure, it is the habit of wisdom. You need not wait until you have wandered far to come back. Come even when you are near to be nearer still. Each day, each morning, each time your heart trembles, return. Let returning become the steady rhythm of your soul's breath, for only when you are in me will you truly find yourself. And when you come back to my word, do not see it as an obligation to fulfill. See it as the lifeline that connects you to me. My word is not a list of rules to keep, but a stream that keeps you alive. It is not a burden, but a resting place. It is not something I use to test you, but the way I protect you. Read it as the thirsty drink water, as the traveler in the desert discovers a spring. Let it refresh your weary spirit, wash away the dust of fear, and awaken within you the desire to truly live. I know there will be days when you feel you have nothing left to say, nothing left to believe. There will be moments when you want to let go, but remember, my child, I have never left the battlefield of your soul. When you stop praying, I still intercede. When you forget how to love, I still love you. When you are falling, I am the hand that holds you fast. And little by little you will see I have not led you by the shortest path, but by the deepest one, that your roots might grow stronger, that your faith might not only stand firm but reach deep into the soil of grace. Come, my child. Just come. Do not wait until you feel worthy, for no one has ever been worthy to come, yet all are invited. Do not wait until you are calm to seek me, for when your heart is in turmoil, I am your peace. Do not wait until you understand to believe, for faith shines brightest in the dark. You do not need perfection to approach me. You need honesty. Bring me your fears, your doubts, your unfinished words. Bring me everything and let me exchange it for peace. And when you abide in me, my word will become your breath, my spirit your heartbeat, and my peace your covering cloak. You will learn to live not by controlling everything, but by trusting that everything rests in my hands. You will no longer be swept away by restless thoughts, for your mind will be anchored in truth. You will walk without fear, knowing the shepherd of your soul never sleeps. So come, my child, come each day. Let my word become the song of your morning, the light of your noon, and the warmth of your night. Let my presence be the place you return to, not only when you stumble, but with every step you take. For I am there not only to comfort you, but to live with you, to love you, and to guide you through every season, until your soul knows beyond all doubt nothing can ever separate you from my love. Thank you for listening to today's message. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell to continue receiving the living word, to build your faith strong and to walk in the boundless love of God. Amen.